It's PikaRom versus MewMew Welder. Welcome back, everyone, to more from the Sable Eyes. I'm here today with Blake. How are we doing, Blake?
I'm doing well, thanks, Mitch.
That is good. We are taking a look at another game that we recorded at our Winnerbox tournament over the weekend. On the left-hand side, we have Tom, who is playing Pikachu Zekrom, a deck that was very popular on the day and looks to be popular in the future. And on the right, we have Sam, who is piloting another MewMew list, except this time it's MewMew Welder. It'll be interesting to see this matchup. It could very easily be a close one. We know from our recent testing that MewMew Malamar versus PikaRom is exceptionally close. I'd expect that this would be as well.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how MewMew Welder performs because having not really tested it much myself, I'm trying to figure out what the Welder variant brings to the table that the Psychic one doesn't do better. So hopefully Sam can show that up for us today, and we see like a good showing from both decks.
Yeah, exactly. You can see in the hand there for Sam, that is the Rainbow Rare Heatran. That is an exceptionally weak turn. I think Sam had the Dene in hand. He must be holding on to some good stuff there to refuse to do anything. The Lopunny and Jigglypuff is a big card to have, but Tom has a Jirachi with an escape board in the active, so he'd be feeling pretty good as well.
Yeah, you don't. This low puff is such a key card in the matchup, either just to ditch or to use it as an attacker instead. You certainly don't want it taking a full blitz before it starts doing anything on the first turn. I imagine for Sam, he must be holding a full Welder combo in hand, otherwise it's not worth holding on to. That's the only thing I can imagine you would risk ruining a turnover.
Yeah, exactly. And there's the EMAG radar for Tom. He's grabbing himself Pikachu Zekrom. Likely to grab a Dedenne as well, because we know PikaRom really needs these big turns here. Grabbing the Raichu here, obviously finding that he has everything that he needs already. Maybe he's just
perhaps he's already got a supporter in hand.
Maybe he's just relying on... Well, he's just played the Volkner, right? So maybe he's just relying on Jirachiing into a Quick Ball here. That could potentially be a bit of an issue. There's a switch in hand, so I mean it's possible, but it seems like a bit of a risk that Tom didn't need to take there. Could have grabbed the Dedenne and just gone for broke. Now it looks like he's going to custom catcher for one here to try and get himself out of this awkward situation. A little bit of an error there.
I think he might just pass, if I'm honest. Yeah, Tom's a bit of a more careful player. I know he's pretty new to PikaRom. I was talking to him, I was sitting like a couple seats over from him for this round. He used to play Guardy Sylveon, so he's used to taking things slow. So he's just picked up this deck. I wonder if he just hasn't learned when the time to pull the trigger is yet on this deck. But we'll see. Sometimes conservative play does work in your favor, but PikaRom's one of those decks that likes to full blitz as early as possible. So, I mean, if you have the option to grab the Dedenne, I mean, the Raichu really isn't serving any purpose here just yet, so I don't see the value in getting it instead of drawing more cards, but we'll see how it plays out for him in the long run.
Yeah, exactly. The real risk is that the hands don't draw particularly well here for Tom. The good thing for Sam is that he will be able to take a knockout this turn with a Lopunny if he is able to get the Welder off. And he actually gusts up PikaRom here, which is
okay. He must not play very many copies of Great Catcher, I suspect, if that's what he was holding on to. Oh, when he customs into another custom, which is not what you want to see. I really, when you're holding a draw out, I never get the whole custom catcher for one to try and get one more playable card. Because in my experience, you always just get one more valuable resource that you didn't want to ditch.
Yeah, no, Sam has done this multiple times on the channel before. He's a big advocate for playing those custom catchers for extra cards. Especially with MewMew, in this situation, most of the time, you're not going to be super hard punished. I mean, that instance he was. Losing two customs and a great catcher in a turn is a big deal. The big problem for Sam here is that he doesn't actually have the attack here, so he's just going to have to
Welder
attach.
inside.
Yeah, he's just going to have to attach to this Mewtwo and hope for the best. Unless there's a Welder in his hand, which
I see a pink Pokegear, I think, in the far left of that hand, so I think he's thinning to give Pokegear a good chance of hitting.
So he very easily could get there. He's kept the Marshadow in hand so that he can potentially remove an obstructive stadium from Tom's side of the field, something like a Thunder Mountain, but Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens here. We've got the Marshadow going down, and oh no, there was a Welder. It was just a Welder. He just has it,
Wow,
so that's
that
fine.
that was well obscured.
Yeah, that was exceptionally difficult to see, but he's got the Welder, which means he's got an attack. He's going to be able to pop a bit of damage onto this PikaRom here.
180 damage, nothing to scoff at here. It's not quite the knockout though. It's a bit upsetting. That's why you really like leading MewMew, because then you can threaten that turn 2 Flare Blitz, which is what Sam would have been hoping for. And obviously, even if you're new, you know you're not going to try and bench more than 2 GXs if you can help it against a MewMew player, because that low buff is ever present.
Oh, it's a big threat, and the worst bit for Tom here is now, even if he does manage to take a knockout on this low buff, which is going to be difficult to do, the threat of the Mewtwo in the back is just going to be too much to overcome. Sam could have effectively set himself up for the win here, but PikaRom's not really done a huge amount in this particular turn. We're seeing Tom discard the Jirachi here to search for 2 Fire Energy from deck. Looks like he's probably going to fail that. That means he's setting up for his custom for 1 before he eventually throws down the second
there it goes. There goes a Tags, which was a crucial card. People have to stop doing this play. It never pays off. I've never seen someone rip a good card off of the custom for 1. It always ends in tragedy.
Well, it's always a big risk, and especially in PikaRom. I mean, in this situation here, what could Tom possibly have hoped to have gotten off of that? He would have had to have been exceptionally lucky, but hey, it's okay. He does have a couple of cards that he might actually be able to make use out of, but needs to attach to this PikaRom, and he's going to play an Electro Power here. Maybe he's going to be just playing down this the Dene and going for broke. Interestingly, not going to thin out any more tag teams with that tag call. He's happy to thin out energy switch cards, but not loose PikaRom. So that's another interesting call.
Well, we did hit the second Electro Power. Yeah, so he will be able to get the knockout with this Full Blitz now that he's taken the Thunder Mountain. So, yeah, very good here. So I think he's going to try, he's going to use the Coco instead and hold the Thunder Mountain, which is pretty strong. If you don't have to use Thunder Mountain, then all power to you. You're better off using it as a counter stadium. But honestly, if I'm trying to hold on to one or the other, I usually tend to hold on to the Coco Prism in my practice. But I haven't got as much experience with PikaRom either, so...
Are you sure that there's a knockout coming here? Has he already played 2 Electro Powers down, or
he played one before the Magnolia?
But surely one Electro Power in hand and 1 Electro Power from the previous discard only equals 210.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm used to all the new Pokemon V cards that have like the lower HP, and now it's the tag team's 240, so we needed 3. So. Oh my god, he actually... Wait, or is it... no, I'm getting excited
relax.
all over again.
Just chill out, mate. Just relax. It's going to be fine.
I thought he had already played the Electro Power that was the second one, and he was just like holding on to the third magically. No.
Well, he's opting to play it here anyway, so he's going to drop that down, and he's just going to knock out with Tag Bolt, which is a risky play, but one that could pay off. He knows that he's got access to Thunder Mountain. All he needs is another energy, and he can attack with Raichu next turn, so it's not the end of the world. The key thing for Tom is that he needs to string together some knockouts. This is probably the best way to do it.
I have to disagree with you on this one, just because I feel like this entire line of play is set up Tom to lose. Right from his first decision to grab the Raichu instead of the Dedenne. The main reason is that you don't want to use 2 tag teams against MewMew. The new Tapu Koko V is exceptional at dealing with tag team threats, and especially in this matchup. So you want to get a knock with a Full Blitz. Tack on some damage. Hopefully the PikaRom can take a knockout, and then take your second one with the Coco V. But having already declared the GX attack and used 2 Electro Powers, there's no way to one-shot this MewMew left in deck for Tom, unless he's playing something super spicy.
I guess that's true. Well, I mean, it doesn't actually matter here for Tom unless this PikaRom gets knocked out. At the moment, Sam is unable to find Welder off of 2 Pokegears. He's going to have to go into a Dedenne here. He's got access to 1 energy, but the Solgaleo GX, which would probably be the prime attacker for this Mewtwo, is still stuck in his deck. So there's not a huge amount that he can realistically do here unless he gets very lucky off of this Dedenne.
Yeah, Dedenne usually the go-to to bail you out of bad hands on these MewMew lists.
I think he's actually just done it there. He's got the quick ball, the Solgaleo's in hand, he's got access to Viridian Forest, so he can attack here, take a knockout with Solgaleo, and charge up a new MewMew as well.
Or perhaps the Heatran. I don't know which he's going to go for. Oh, the Latios is a nice call as well as a go-to. There's no Coco V in sight here, so Tag Purge is actually a viable strategy. We'll see if he just opts to go with it. It looks like he's grabbed the other MewMew.
Yeah, he's grabbing the MewMew. He's discarded the Reshizard to grab the energy out of the deck off of Viridian Forest. So now he's got the attacker, he's got the Solgaleo, he's going to be able to charge up 2 energy to a Mewtwo on the bench, and this spells disaster for Tom. I don't think there's a way that you could realistically come back from this type of play from Sam. He set himself up to be as successful as possible in the next few turns, and he's also managed to remove that Viridian Forest. And he's custom catchering again. He's just drawing more cards. Just draw them all, mate.
He's officially out of Gust at this point. So it's all sniped from here. But luckily, I think he's in that powerful position. Or rather, actually, it's probably more accurate to say that Tom's in such a weak position that it looks promising for Sam to close out the game here. Yeah, he hasn't really set himself up for victory here by not accelerating energy. Now all he's got here is Thunder Mountain in terms of having access to cheating energy. So he's going to be able to use Tandem Shock here, which forces a switch out of Sam. But he does have a low hand size, which is good for Tom. So he might be able to get away with it this time. But it looks like, and he's got a Thunder Mountain to bump Lysander Lab, so that's not going to affect him too heavily. So we'll just see what he has to go with here. I think he also might be out of customs as well. I think that custom in hand might be his last one.
There's actually one in deck here as well, so he could potentially grab that. You can see him eyeing him off there. There it is. So he's going to grab it.
So also he's going to target down to Dene and then hope to pick off a one prizer magically.
No, maybe he's changed his mind. We're going with Electro Power instead. That seems like a fine option, although I don't think that the maths is actually going to help too much here. Maybe hoping for something off of Stellar Wish.
That's why the E-Powers didn't make sense to me at the earlier date that he played them. Expending 2 E-Powers to half-hit something that he was going to half-hit anyway doesn't really add up in a good way for Tom here. So now his Tapu Koko V can't really threaten in a strong way. It's also going to take a long time to power up because it's all manual attachments at this point.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a real tough spot unless something like amazing happens, like Sam forgets to use Marshadow to remove the Thunder Mountain. It's going to be a big problem. There is the Thunder Mountain, so Jirachi can now retreat into that Raichu, which means we're going to be doing some damage and paralyzing the Mewtwo. The question is, can Sam get out of there?
This is a turning point in the game because if Sam misses the switch suddenly, the turns that Tom needs to start powering his attackers back up can be afforded to him, whereas before he didn't really have the time to do so. So, I thought he was scooping up his cards for a second. No, that was just a mistake.
I think it was just moving those bench Pokemon to get his hand back into his hand. He's just top decked the last custom catcher there, so I might regret having played the one for the turn before. That could potentially come back to bite him here.
Sam's stacked his hand size deceptively well, so I actually didn't realize his hand was so big. I feel like if you're Tom there, then you really should be fetching for that reset stamp of locking Sam in the active is your go-to strategy. You want him to have like as little chance as possible as getting out of the active, but fortunately for Tom, I can't see the switch immediately in hand. So it looks like Sam's going to have to go digging for it with potentially another Dedenne, but he might be out of them. Oh no, he did.
There is one in there, but it does look like he's actually eyeing off the Latios, so I could potentially grab the Latios now with this Quick Ball. I think there's another Quick Ball in hand, so we could discard that, grab the Dedenne and get himself going. Just depends on how his hand works out here. No, just going to grab the Dedenne here. And prepare himself for an attack next turn. Grab the switch off of this Dedenne would be excellent. Being able to start doing some damage to this Raichu and the game will effectively be over. Although there is it's still worrying, because Sam has a damaged Mewtwo in the active. Tom has 3 prizes left to take. If Sam can't do it, then he's going to actually find himself losing this game, which is kind of unbelievable considering how early Tom went with that GX attack. So Looks like we're just having a conversation here about energy recycle system. I'm not sure what that conversation is exactly.
I think he's checking. I think he suspected that Sam had more than one fire in the discard, so he thought it was. He thought he was using the top action of recycle system incorrectly, which he wasn't doing, which is fine.
Yeah.
But for Sam here, he wins the game if manages to switch out of the active and gets a welder for at least one energy, because then he can flare blitz this Alolan Raichu for game.
There is a welder. There's 2 energy there as well, so he still needs the switch. This is going to be the critical card. Welder coming down and just attaching the one. He's got an Acrobike.
Can he fit any more cards? No,
he's just going to pass the turn. Decides, no, I'm just going to pass. And it looks like he might actually be ready to give Tom the game here. That's pretty...
You have to suspect that if that's the case, then Tom must not have Switch left in deck.
Well, he just grabbed it. He just grabbed it with the Volkner.
No, Sam.
Sam doesn't have it. Oh, sorry. You said Tom.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing?
I said, yeah. So yeah, that's game.
Yeah, no, and that's so unfortunate because Sam was in such a good position there. You feel like you just have to get really unlucky in that situation, unless, of course, like you said, there was no Switch left, which is a possibility. Very unfortunate for Sam.
I don't feel like I saw Sam play very many switches in that game, though, so I don't really know where they all went.
Well,
maybe the list is not playing very many.
Yeah, unless he's got a lower count. I know Sam has been playing 2, maybe 3 switches in his recent lists. I don't know how many he's playing in this one, but yeah, that seems really unfortunate, and you'd think that unless you knew for sure that Switch wasn't there, you would have Acrobiked. So Sam has to have known, okay, there's actually no way I can get out of this.
Exactly.
Which is,
unfortunately, there was no stamp on Sam's end either, so he couldn't also make it harder for Tom to find the switch and energy to finalize the game. So
yeah,
unfortunately, doubly unlucky there.
Yeah,
it looks like there's a Dedenne lead for Tom in this game, which is fortunate for Sam. Means he's down some draw resources.
That's a Raichu. There you go. So
I'm terrible at spotting cards.
Not so bad. Sam's actually got himself the
low puff again.
The low punny again. So, and this time he again has the Dedenne in hand, but it doesn't look like his resources are that bad. But he chooses not to play it. Oh my goodness, I don't understand that. Like, why would you not just offer to discard a couple of cards from your hand and give yourself more drawouts? I don't understand.
Well, speaking, because I think if you're Tom, you would beg to have the outs that Sam has on his side, because he is just going to...
He's just passed as well. What is going on in this game?
The only supporter in Tom's hand is a Malilana, and that is not going to help you draw cards. So Sam has a welder for 1. It wasn't even that good a welder he held on for. So yeah, it's
like, I guess I can see the logic. You've got the welder in hand. You've got an energy. You know that you need to attack for 1, but I mean, now all he's essentially done is he's got the power pad off of the Dedenne, or off of the welder that he played. He would have got that off the Dedenne and been able to shuffle it in anyway. So it's just maybe a bit of bad luck here from Sam in the cards that he's drawn, but also I feel like he probably could have been a little bit more aggressive here, because now we're in a situation where this low puff is going to be alone in the active with discarded 2 custom catches here as well. This is all sorts of things are happening in this game, Blake. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and here's the thing as well. It's easy to nag on him because we've been testing particularly hard for this new format. But this is everyone's first experience with the new supporter rule in an official tournament setting, even if it's not for any CP or anything like that. So everyone's still trying to navigate the whole no first turn supporter rule in their own way. So they'll have to learn for themselves what's the most effective. Sam's looking to navigate it this way.
Yeah, no, and that's fair enough. It does make a lot of sense. Tom here grabbing himself the Dedenne, not able to do anything last turn, but this turn he's going to be able to discard his hand and get going. So that's good.
The quick ball at God draw to bail him out of this horrible hand. Luckily for Tom here, he only had the lone choo-choo, which means that low puff really isn't threatening a whole lot.
Yeah,
so
it's just hitting for a bit.
A measly 120. So let's see. Ooh, this is it's not too bad a hand there from Tom. It's not a full blitz. It's not a full blitz hand, I don't think.
No, it's not. But it's definitely a hand that's playable. There's a Jirachi here. He's got a Volkner as well, so he could potentially grab an energy and a switch off of the Volkner. He's not going to be able to get out of the active though, because That
if there was just a
Choo-Choo
switch
has
in
too
that
much on it,
hand,
yeah.
that's actually a full blitz if there's a switch in that hand,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. Because you can grab Quick Ball, Lightning Energy, and grab that Cocoa Prism if it's in the deck, which we just saw, and then we can accelerate the energy and just switch into the full blitz, which would have been really strong considering how slow Sam's turns were also.
Yeah.
But he's going to go for the Quick Ball as well.
It could just be a matter of I'm just going to sacrifice this Choo-Choo and we're going to go from there. Sam's not having a super strong start, so if Tom can get himself multiple Electro Powers, get himself a knockout on this low puff, then maybe he can steal the game again like he did last time. Maybe that's the play that we're looking at.
But here's the really concerning thing here for Tom. I think his inexperience with this PikaRom matchup, or just the deck in general, has come back to bite him here because he's got 4 GXs down. Everything is going to die to that low puff. If he commits this Tapu Koko to the Pikazek, he can easily get punished by Gust here. And oh no, he's going for it. This is so easily punished by Sam. Oh, he's splitting the energy, which is smart.
He split. Well, the worst thing here though for Tom is that he split the energy, which is intelligent. But all it takes is one stadium from Sam, and suddenly he can't attack next turn, and there it is. So now, even though Tom was intelligently splitting those energy, it's going to be impossible for him to take an attack next turn without grabbing energy switch and things like that. So it's going to be real tough.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, off of his really bad first hand, I think E-Switch might have been one of the cards that clogged up that opening hand. So it might be a bit of a tough call. Speaking of calls, the tag switch might be the only thing that can bail him out at this point. So he might have to find himself a Voltner into a Quick Ball into Dene. It's gonna be a real.
It's gonna be a lot. I think we can safely say that Tom is in a considerably worse position than he was last game. Sam here grabbing himself a Latios off of that not Ultra Ball. Sorry, I'm several years in the past. Cherish Ball. Thank you, and we'll also see a discarded Fire Energy to grab 2 more off of the Giant Hearth. No Welder in hand, but lots of energy access for Sam, which means he's going to be able to manually attach to that Mewtwo on the bench. And the best thing about this deck at the moment with the Heatran in it is that as long as there are multiple Fire Energy in play, at any point this GX attack might come down and take a big knockout, especially since he's about to take 3 prizes off of the low puff.
Yeah, and I suppose if there's any small victory here, it's that the 3 prizes came off the Choo-Choo and not either of his PikaRoms. Because if he lost just one of those energies, then it would have been game over. There's no way to get that energy back without Thunder Mountain or anything. Oh no, this doesn't look good. Well, we got a tag call, so if he plays a Sinlin, then he can draw cards, but I don't know how common that is, especially in these EMAG radar lists.
It doesn't look like there's a lot.
I feel like Malalana might have been one of the only tag supporters in the deck, and he ditched it off the first hand. So that's going to whiff here with the Choo-Choo out of deck and the 2 Zekroms in the field. Looks like he's just going to have to attach and pass, which is really, really sad. Sam is 1 gust away from leveling out this set.
Yeah, exactly. He's got the attachment in hand. He's going to be able to play that down.
He's
actually just got the gust in hand, so nothing to be done about that. Taking a knockout on 2 tag teams in a row seems pretty strong. And the low puff manages to do it. Obviously, a bit of a very rough very rough game for Tom there, not being able to get anything going, and Sam being able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, there was really no point in that game where it looked like Tom was going to be able to set himself up for good things, because I think Sam might have been holding that great catch the whole time and just thought, you know what, while there's 4 in play, I'm going to take this Choo-Choo with the big charm on it and then come back to the Pikazek after, because it's gonna come to me. So I'm really not going to run out of chances to take 6 prizes unless I let this Choo-Choo live.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, these 2 games have been very average so far, but bad draws and interesting decisions have created these weird situations where nothing's really happened, and I feel like going into Game 3 here, if either one of these decks just pops off and does well, then we could easily see a set that just comes and goes as quickly as that.
Surely that's a Dedenne, though.
That is a Dedenne.
Yeah,
we've got a Dedenne in the active.
Okay, there we go.
We've got a tag call coming down as well, so we might see Tom grabbing himself a PikaRom and a Raichu. That's the job done. Now we're into low puff. We're into low puff territory on the first turn.
He keeps going for that Choo-Choo on the first turn, and it's just objectively wrong in this matchup, because you've seen the low puff. You have to go for the Coco V, and he keeps ignoring it, and it's really triggering. Because just the Coco V is just such an efficient attacker. It's the best new thing that it got out of the Sword and Shield format, and it's being ignored here, which is unfortunate because it's the new strength of this deck.
Yeah, well, I guess you can't search for it with EMAG Radar though. So.
Yeah, true, but you got to imagine that with a turn that weak, getting another Dedenne, unless it was prized, would have been optimal.
So we see Sam here replacing the Viridian. He's going to grab himself a tag, no, not a tag team, a GX Pokemon off of this Cherish Ball. Depending on what he has in hand. Could grab a tag team, could be a Mewtwo and Mew. Looks like it's going to be. And we hopefully will see a Welder here from Sam. If he's able to do that, he could potentially just attack with Heatran this turn, or he could set himself up for an attack with Mewtwo and Mew. It's kind of awkward though, because early on, unless you got the low puff, which obviously Sam has access to at some point, he's going to struggle to take a knockout even on this Dedenne. So there's the switch, into the Mew, and we're going to see a manual attachment into the active. Looks like we've got a custom catcher for 1.
Again!
And now we're going to be discarding one of those Psychic Energy. They're not coming back.
Precious Psychic Energy. I mean, he does play Recycler System, but I mean, Sam's, you got to stop, man. This is such a horrible habit. We got a great catcher here.
We got a great catcher and a Welder, but we don't have a way to take the knockout on the PikaRom just yet.
We're one energy off. We can Turbo Strike this turn, which is nice. Looks like that's what he's going to go for. He's going to opt to Turbo Strike.
Custom catcher for 1.
Custom catcher for 1. There we go. There's a set of Gust out of the way. Let's see.
Discards the Dedenne off of...
Dedenne? What a curious discard.
Well, I mean, he's going to go for the Welder here, so he's going to get himself 3 energy on the active. So, obviously going, alright, well, I'm going to make sure that I get myself into another card at some point that's going to allow me to draw cards. But you would have thought that the switch
it's only 3 cards, yeah.
I would have thought that the switch would have been the better option there, but, you know, it could come up. Switches are slightly more useful than Dedennes, especially when you can just grab one with one of those quick balls. So, Sam making the right decision in the end, but...
True, but we've seen 2 now, so I mean, I'm not sure if he's playing 3 or 4 in this list, but I mean, if he's prized just one of them, there's a chance that he whiffs off of the quick ball.
That's true, but the good thing about the 2 quick balls here is that he can actually search out the low puff and take the knockout if he wants to, so that's pretty good. But no, he's just going to Turbo Strike here and accelerate a Psychic to a Heatran, so that's not the best energy acceleration.
I hope that Sam checked his prize to see. For Sam's sake.
For Sam's sake. For your sake, if not for Sam's.
He's gonna get a scolding otherwise. Because if he didn't check his deck with the Hearth to see if low puff was in deck, then that quick ball would have just netted him 3 prizes and almost shut Tom completely out of this set. But
that's okay.
That's okay.
We're going. We're still
back into Jirachi, which is strong. We got the Coco Prism coming out, so Tom finally getting all the right things done here. And we got a tag switch, so looks like all we need is a switch out of the active from Tom, and then we can see a full blitz with or without Thunder Mountain.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, and that's a pretty strong turn for Tom if he is able to pull it off. But
don't let us down, Stellarwish.
He's got what's that? He's got the switch in hand. Is it?
Don't greed out on the Magnolia.
I can't
see. There's a Magnolia and a switch in there. I did see it.
He's got the Magnolia on the top.
He's going to greed out on the Magnolia. I know what he is. He's not going to guarantee the full blitz.
He's still thinking about it.
Never risk missing the full blitz. Just get the full blitz. No.
He's getting the Magnolia.
No.
Oh, he got the Magnolia. Oh, yeah. We hope for Tom's sake that he hits the switch off of the Magnolia.
And he gets it home for the point where Tom lost the game. It might as well be. It might be this one.
It very easily could be.
I hope he at least goes for the tag switch first to get this full blitz online.
Oh, he has to. He has to.
Because otherwise... Wait. A manual attachment? Didn't he already manually attach this time?
Has that not already happened? Well, we can watch it back. We can watch it back and see. There could be too many energy here. I mean,
and I think tag switch forces you to move 2 as well.
It's just passing as well. This is really strange. This is an incredibly strange turn that's just happened.
It hurts. It hurts.
If there's one thing that I love about you, Blake, when we commentate, it's that you get way too emotionally invested in the matchup.
Sam's going to show me the low puff right now. God damn it, Sam.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
what
Sam,
a set we're
remember that
seeing.
time when you could have taken 3 prizes and ended this game, but then Tom didn't take the guaranteed full blitz to get himself back into the game to make it interesting instead? Woo-wee! What a set of events that was.
Oh my goodness gracious me.
I hope Sam managed to string together his last 2 custom catches without using them to draw an extra 1 card, because otherwise he's not going to be able to gust up these tag teams for 3 prizes.
Oh my word.
Man, what a set. This has been...
Well, here's the thing, Blake. If you watched our first set, which was between yourself and Callum, then that set had everything. That was the most exciting set that I've ever commentated on. It went right down to the wire.
I want to put it... I just want to state now, I understand that I made a mistake by not grabbing a skateboard. I missed the knockout. But I made one... that was my only mistake, that whole set. And then I just sacked really hard in games 2 and 3. But that's not the important part. What's important is there was a low puff in the deck. And why didn't he play Sycamore?
Oh, I've got no idea what's going on.
It's
okay. It's okay.
One of the greater mysteries in life. I think he's going to use Puffy Smashers GX.
Really? Is that really what's about to happen here? Are we about to Puffy Smasher this PikaRom? Is that the play?
It looks like he's quick balling for the Naga now because he's trying to figure out how to kill this PikaRom without any gust, and he's just overlooked it for Dene. So,
okay, fair enough.
Interesting. I mean, he does have access to Puffy Smashers GX if all else fails. Because if he uses it to kill PikaRom, here's the thing. He's gonna have... Oh my god, what's happening?
He's just turbo striking.
Kill the PikaRom, Sam! Kill the PikaRom!
Oh my goodness. Here comes the tag switch. We're going to move those energy onto the right.
Oh my god, here we go.
Just settle down, son. Settle down. We're going to custom catcher for a couple of cards here. We've got ourselves Thunder Mountain and Day Lightning Energy, which is very exciting for...
So now he has to...
Tom.
No! That's a wrong attachment! Attach the PikaRom!
And we're playing Professor Magnolia, so the key is that we need to find the switch. There's an escape board, so we're going to be able to...
Okay, here's the
GX
E-Power.
here. There's the E-Power and the knockout on the
and now
Mewtwo
quick ball
Mew.
for a Jirachi so that you can lightning ride into. Otherwise, this would be a shame.
No, we're just going to lightning ride. It's fine. It's fine. Just relax, Blake. It's going to be fine. We'll just retreat into this today.
Okay.
It's going to be fine.
It's not okay. Now he's going to go down to 3 prizes by taking this knockout, and then he's left with, I don't know, 120 damage PikaRom to end the game with. I'm
going to need to get Jordan back for the next one, viewers, because this has been too much of a roller coaster for Blake. He needs to go and lie down, I reckon.
If any of you are as emotionally involved in this as I am, then you're having a great time because this is nothing else but entertaining, but for all the wrong reasons. That attach should be on the PikaRom. There should be a 1 prize attacker in the active. There was a Zapdos and a Marshall on hand. He didn't even have to search for one. He could have just put it down. He has 2 switches in hand, so it's not like he was getting punished.
And we've got Sam here Dedenaing away a Naganadel GX and a Dedenne and a Switch, which is not that big of a deal. We've got a Welder in hand, but doesn't have access to the Fire Energy. Might need to attach one of those Psychics to this low puff to be able to get there, unless we can find something off of the Acro Bike.
Well, and here's the thing. Now that he's not killed the PikaRom last turn, he's been punished for it because now he can't kill a Choo-Choo with his current loadout, and it looks pretty grim. He doesn't have a MewMew out. He might be grabbing one now. I don't see it.
No MewMew in left. There's no MewMew in deck, so he's just going to have to
he
go
must
for...
have prized 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, he's going to have to go for the Reshizard here. The good thing for Sam is that he is going to be able to take a knockout on the Dedenne, and worst comes to worst, he can still take a knockout with Heatran GX as long as this low punny stays in play. So it's not all bad. The attachment going onto low punny now, but Sam does need 3 energy and a welder to be able to get himself going here. He will be able to take a knockout on the Dedenne and take 2 more prizes. There's a custom catcher coming into the hand, and now we find ourselves in a position where Tom can just retreat this PikaRom, paralyze the low puff, and we're in the same position where we just have to hope that, for Tom's sake, he's able to retain that low puff in the active and take a knockout for game.
I'd like to see an E-switch of this item grab here. Hopefully to make up for the mistake of not attaching to this PikaRom in the first place, but Thunder Mountain has strangely actually stuck on the field, which is actually incredible. So Yeah, this is a weird turn of events. Looks like he's grabbed a switch here. I could have sworn he had a switch, or did he stamp?
Well, I think that he actually got stamped there, but he's going for
Oh my
the
god,
Mew
here
now.
comes
So,
the Mew!
so now the Puffy
Nice.
Smashers play is not available for Sam, and those custom catches being in the bin is going to be a big issue. We've got the Raichu and Raichu switching into the active here, which means that it's going to be able to attack for 160 damage. And,
I'd love to see an attachment go down with the Mew here.
No, doesn't happen.
Okay.
It's all over.
Okay.
It's next turn already.
Hopefully that lightning stays in hand, because he's going to need it to switch into the Mew and then manually retreat it so that he can reactivate Tandem Shock here. That's his win con at this point. Let's see if Sam has a switch this time around. He's grabbing a Jirachi, not promising here.
Yeah, no.
Searching an energy or preventing weakness is not going to save him from this one. So we'll have to see. I'm guessing this is all an attempt to thin out his deck so that he can hit this switch. So,
well, the question is, I don't actually think that there's anything in Sam's hand that he could realistically do. I mean, he can welder this one energy, but it's going to be a real issue. He welders onto the low puff here and doesn't find a switch there, so I think this game could just be over here. I think this game could just be over. Tom's holding everything he needs. He's got a switch and an attachment. Can switch into the Mew and retreat and just win the game. So, after all of that, Blake, this is the way that it's going to end.
Yeah.
Not with a bang but a whimper. Sam loses that one. Tom's got everything he needs, and hey, well, at least you had a good time, Blake.
Oh yeah, I had a thrilling time. I've choice words for Sam.
Well, we'll tell him.
Then
We'll tell him in a minute. We'll tell him in a minute. We're about to run out of footage, so you'll have to tell him off camera. Sorry, Blake. So there you have it. That's the end of our second round of the Good Games Winner Box in Adelaide. PikaRom ending up victorious over MewMew Welder, although you have to say there are several points at which that set could have easily changed through a different series of events occurring. Thank you very much to Blake for his commentary, and to Sam and Tom for willingly being on camera with us this last weekend, and thank you to you for sticking around to the very end of this video. If you have and you enjoy the content, consider subscribing. Click the button that is just here. Over here we have some videos that YouTube thinks you'll like. We also have a playlist for more testing of the Sword and Shield format ready for Melbourne ICs. If you want to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, you can do so at @theSableEyes_YT, and apart from that, we'll see you all next time for more from the Sable Eyes. Bye.